Imagine living with a disease, but unlike cancer or heart disease, few people know what it is or how to effectively treat it. 1 in 12 Canadians is living with a rare disease, and of those, 2/3 are children. So for Rare Disease Today, genetic counselor Brenda McInnes is here now with what it's like for affected families and what we all should really know about rare diseases. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming in, Brenda.
Thank you.
So first of all, how do you even define a rare disease? How do you consider a disease rare?
So a rare disease is any disease or disorder that occurs in the population with a frequency of 1 in 2,000 or less.
Or less?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So how many rare diseases are there? 1 in 12 is kind of a staggering number to me.
Yeah, so there's 7,000 rare diseases. So when you combine all the people affected with the 7,000 rare diseases, that comes to the 1 in 12 Canadians.
Wow. So it's more common than I think most people would realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So what are we talking about? Can you give me some examples of rare diseases that we might know or have heard of?
Yeah, so cystic fibrosis, for example, would be an example of a rare disease.
Sure.
Huntington's disease, Fragile X
Absolutely.
syndrome, those sorts of things would be considered rare diseases.
Okay, so those are ones we've heard of, yeah. But there are, of course, so many that most people have never heard of.
Exactly.
Oh, which can be a real struggle. Are rare diseases genetic?
80% of rare diseases are said to be genetic.
Oh. So there usually is some kind of familial history or something going on there.
Not always.
Not always?
So
okay.
sometimes parents can carry a hidden gene that will manifest in a child that they had no idea that they had, or sometimes there's a new genetic change at conception. So you'll have a child that's affected with a new genetic change, but there's no family history prior to that individual being born. Yeah.
Being born.
Yeah.
Wow. So many children, and you even work at the Children's Hospital.
I do.
I'm so curious about these families and when they have a child with a rare disease. Because, you know, unlike some of these more common diseases, you know, you don't have like the Heart and Stroke Foundation or the Canadian Cancer Society supporting and advocating for you. What's it like for some of these families?
It can be very isolating, although over the years this has improved a lot just because of the recognition that there are so many individuals affected with rare disease. So there's parent-to-parent networks through the Rare Disease Foundation. We do have a Calgary chapter that helps families as a support, peer support for rare disease. There's lots of information available. Orphanet, Orpha.net is the sort of encyclopedia for rare disease, so people can easily access information about specific disorders through that website. So there's a lot more support available
And there
now,
used to be,
for
right?
sure, yeah.
So what do you guys do then for a family? So a family comes in, they've had this child, they're presenting with various different symptoms. What can you do for them?
So we will do our best and utmost to come up with an answer for them. That isn't always possible, but eventually our goal is to have no family leave the clinic without a diagnosis.
Right. And what does that diagnosis then do for the family?
So it can help with genetic counseling. So if you know what the diagnosis is, very often you know the inheritance pattern, so you're able to give a recurrence risk to the family. You're able to give a prognosis, so you know, a bit of an idea what's expected for the future. So those sorts of bits of information families tend to find very helpful.
Wonderful. And is that when you guys sort of come into the picture, once the baby's already been born? Or do you enter the picture before that if you've got two parents that maybe have something and want to get some testing done?
Yeah, so genetics can be involved in with a family at any point in time. So some people are aware of a family history that they want to come see and talk to us about. Sometimes we'll see differences on ultrasound, so we'll discuss those with families as well on prenatal ultrasound. So there's all sorts of ways that people come see us.
Come and see you. Well, at least you're there to help, and getting a diagnosis is a huge help to these families. Thank you so much for being here, Brenda.
Oh, thank you so much, Leah. All right.